All right, grasshoppers. 10 o'clock, Thursday morning. Where is everybody? Where is everybody? Uh, Not here yet, eh? Okay. So, well, wait for people to get here. I had a little incident last night. I had, the Guardian of Greenwich. That's me. Clean things up here a little bit. I'll tell the story because people can always watch this later. So, in my condominium complex where I live, they, as it's nice, they're trying to upgrade the facility. So as people move out of their, stop paying their rent or move out of their condos, they're constantly redoing. Deb, how you doing, you magical creature? So they're constantly redoing. Mimsy, how are you? Magical creature. Goodness gracious. I thought today was National Bikini Day for some day. I for some reason I got it checked. It's not National Bikini Day. July 5th was National Bikini Day. I missed it. All right, so they're constantly fixing up the condos. They're redoing the condos, gutting it out, put new kitchens in, all that kind of stuff. So they're upgrading the Wally Thacker. How are you, magical man? Oh, and then there's Bill Contra. It's camera mood. Mr. Contradidiac is here. You tell me, true good. That's good. Susan Brooks, how are you? Okay. So let's get right out of here. So they're constantly redoing these condominiums, and we've had the discussion before about the ladder thrown down the hill and all that, guys. So I've gone in, and to their credit, these guys are hardworking guys. So they're trying to get full days in. I'm assuming they bid out the price. The sooner they get it done, they move on to the next job. So I've checked, I've checked the noise ordinance for the town of Greenwich. You go online. The World Wide Web never lies. And all construction noise has to be stopped by 6 o'clock, Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock p.m. And on Tuesday, it has to stop by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And Sunday, there's not allowed to have any construction noise going on. Okay, so that's the rules. We need to follow the rules. So was it Monday night? It must have been Monday night, yeah. This two guys are working on a condo. I'm sitting outside enjoying myself a beverage. And it's a nice night out. I got the fan going, trying to learn some things, watching YouTube. And so the noise going on. So I nicely went down and I said, listen, guys, I'm sorry. But you're supposed to stop the noise. This is like 6:30 or whatever. You're supposed to stop the noise, the construction noise by 6. And the guy was pretty nice. He said, you sure the 7? I said, no, I just checked it. I'm sorry. I'm very apologetic. I want to be a gentleman about it, not rush to any conclusions. So they stopped. So then last night, about 7 o'clock, they're still going at it. And I put up with it for a little bit, and then I decided to go back down again. So this is, 48 hours after the beginning, and I was very a gentleman about it. So I kind of opened the door forcefully, and the same two guys were in there. And I said, listen, I told you guys before you're supposed to stop. And he started saying something back to me. I didn't know what it was. And I said, and I lost my temper a little bit, just a couple of F-bombs, just to get the point across. So the noise stopped again. So let's see what happens tonight. Actually, it's funny because on Tuesday they had sent out an email to everybody in the condominium complex that you're not supposed to enter the units that were under construction. I don't know if they meant that for me or not, but they get the noise to stop, then I don't have to go back. So I got the point across. Got a little heated last night. A little heated. What else is going on? What else is happening here in this magical world? To see where the wife, the Gilgo killer, I guess his ex-wife for now, or she's just becoming his ex-wife. They went and asked her about what her thoughts were about the murders and her husband getting caught. And it is what it is. She looks like a pleasant person too. Some pictures. Look like a happy couple. That's what he's going out there murdering people. Gresh is here. Is our Gresh? Is he watching? Morning, Gresh. Ron Greshner machine. What else is happening? The Yankees are not very good. The Mets are worse. What was one Yankee player last night? Someone was yelling at him, and he blew him a kiss. You're not doing well. It's probably not a good thing to be doing. But okay, this is no Susan. I know you're being sarcastic. I did not participate. National Hot Dog. That's okay. We know my feelings on this, but I'm going to reiterate that hot dogs are terrible for you. Let's have National Cigarette Smoking Day. It's not good. The fact that we glorify eating a food that's as bad as hot dogs are. Danny Erickson, Gilgo Beach is go-to beach for me. Oh, well. Happy Thursday, Ron Jameson, you beautiful Buffalonian. Sorry, I just made that up or what? Buffalonian. Let me see here. Deb, beachgoers in that. I visit. Can I go in the water? Do the amount of? I heard about that today. I was listening to Boomer Esiason in his morning show. They were discussing that. It's because all the people on Survivor are pooping out in the ocean. Oh, Ron. No. Hot dogs are good. Oh, they taste good. There's no question about that, but they are terrible for you. Trans fat, as we've spoken here before, put it in the blender, put it into a syringe, go to the hospital, jump up on a gurney, plug yourself into the heart machines, whatever it is, and just shoot that stuff right into your veins, harden it right up there. Let me see here. Yeah. The beer commercials pushed on to down a lot of Budweisers. What was a big, wasn't there something going on with like a commercial or something like that, a Bud Light commercial or some big controversy? I don't know what that was. And then I was reading today too where Jason Aldean is singing some song, country song about something about can't do that in a small town where people are all getting all over him for the song. I've heard that song over and over and I never understood why everybody's so mad at him about it. But who knows these days? Who knows? So Ron, no, we are not eating hot dogs, Ron. I know you like hot dogs, just not good for you. Not good. Terrible. But hey, you live once. Do what you want to do. Hopefully, Galchenyuk gets the help he needs. Yes, he's a troubled man. Yeah. Yes. And I like the way you put that, Susan. Hold on, I'll get that up there on the screen. Yeah, he obviously needs help, right? There's a problem with him. Was it a drinking thing again? This time I can't. This is the second episode he's had. Somebody, I think Phoenix Arizona just signed him and then they bought him out. So yes, Jack Smith, beautiful Ron Greshner sighting. Yes, good morning, Ron. We're going to get Ron on our Full Chains podcast as well. We talked about it last week. We got who do we have on the? I can't remember who we got. Vodka and Jack and good, but yeah, well, everybody's got to have their own little vices, right? I know. I've convinced myself, yeah, that vodka and tequila are actually good for you. So, but yes, you're right. We can't lead a perfect life, so everybody's got to do what they've got to do as long as they're happy. I read an article here. What do we got going here? What do we got? Let me see here, Ronnie Jameson. Back in your day, would these issues exist or were we hidden by management? Well, yeah. I think wasn't he got in trouble before for hitting his wife or his girlfriend or something? I can't remember what it was. Those kinds of things were just never tolerated by your teammates. That kind of stuff. There's certain, we've talked long and hard about the drinking back when we played and how it was supplied by the teams. That was part of the culture there and everything. But there's certain things you just didn't do. Like we weren't supposed to get in fights off the ice. I mean, that's if you played in the professional hockey, you fought on the ice, you didn't fight off the ice, and certainly didn't ever hit women too. That's pretty much everybody understands that. Although men do it, but Judith Francisco Solis. Wow, Judith, how are you? That's quite a name, Judith Francisco Solis. Great name. Let me see here. We got Jack Smith. My sister graduated from Syracuse, where Ron's child attends. Oh, great party school in 1980s for me and my buddies with her. Oh, yeah. Any college, right? They do those rankings about like the biggest party. I mean, if you want to party at any school, man, you're 18 years old, 19 years old, first time away from home, and cut her loose. I remember when my kids went to college, I was like, oh, God, if they do what I did. Did you have any formal training for fighting back? For fighting? No. It was more guys. I mean, there's some guys who it was pretty much just stand back and throw them. No, there was no. They do now. They watch videos of each other now. I mean, it basically had to know whether the guy was throw left hand or right hand or both. And that was about it. But yeah, I mean, guys like Nick Fotillo, he was a boxer, so I guess technically he did have training. A few times he squared off and did the old boxing stuff, right? I remember him. Was it him and Ben Wilson one time at the Spectrum doing that? Joseph Lettuce. Joseph, how are you? Good to see you again, bud. Joseph Ligudis. Let me see here. Wally Thacker. I like that name, Wally Thacker. It's like a good, like a Scottish name, like Wally Thacker. Yeah, my broth of a lad. Doing the caber toss. Yeah, Wally Thacker. I can just see next up on the caber toss, Wally Thacker. Ooh, speaking of fighting, how was Mel dropping belts? Woo, surprisingly good. People that saw him fight a few times, but Dave Brown gave it to him pretty good. Him and Chris Nyland, that was a good fight. Really good. Both those guys knew what they were doing. I remember Brown, because Brownie was beating everybody all the time. And all of a sudden, the video is fantastic of that, right? The guard, the look on his face is like, what is that? Mel just smoked him with some laughs there. So yeah, Mel was tough. Yeah, tough dude. Let me see here. Danny Erickson. I thought Ben Wilson was a thug. Yeah, he did some, like, we had, Ron Flockhart talked about some of the stuff. We had him and Mel on the other podcast before, and he talked about how Ben Wilson was just, he would do stupid stuff to his own teammates even. And he roomed with Wilson and Flockhart lived together, or roomed together, traveling on the road. And Wilson did something to him, and he came in the room after. He said, "I'm sorry, I just lost my mind." Like, he just was great. Like some of the stuff he did. And one night he speared Eddie Mule just in the middle of the play. Nothing was going on. Just skated, speared him in the head. Yeah, Bobby Schmutz was one dude that did. Yeah, he was more like a nasty with the stick, and he was tough. But remember one time where he was in Vancouver, I think, later on in his career, and I went to hit him, and like he just tomahawked me on top of my head. I wasn't sure, was that an accident? And Bubba came over. He was hot. He says he did that on purpose, and yeah, he was nasty. Let me see here. Al Coates had a story of Nicky teaching Darwin McCutcheon how to fight naked in the shower in Calgary camp. Nick destroyed him in a fight. Later, Emil McCutcheon, he confirmed they're fighting naked in the shower. Oh, that's funny. I've never heard that story. We'll have to get Nicky on and talk about that. Naked. I don't think I've ever seen two guys going out in the shower. That's funny. Funny stuff. Let me see here. Did you guys come to Ron Duke to protect his looks? Dukes didn't need any protection. I mean, he was the same as any other teammate. We were all stood up for each other. But no, Dukes is tough. There's some good videos of him fighting. He's like, everybody has this image of him, Studio 54, and the hair and a little bit. But no, Dukes could take care of himself more than fine. Big enough man, tough. He knew what he was doing. We had Clarkie on. We played the video of the fight. Him and Dukes, and it wasn't much of a fight. I think they knew each other, so it's more like they threw down, but it wasn't much going on. So I don't know if I call him his nemesis, but yeah, Dukes could fight. Yes, you're right, Deb. Definitely could. Mr. Palin, that's right. There was an advertisement on Facebook. They're on some radio show or something coming up. The two of them together, magical couple. What was I going to mention? Something else going on. National Hot Dog Day, man, that just drives me nuts. They should have National Tequila Day. There must be a National Tequila Day, right? It's got to be National Tequila Day. Ira, how's your diet going? You sexy bugger, you. Girls all chasing around before. Getting worse now. Oh, how about the picture Larry Melnick sent me that I posted today? Man, he's looking good, right? Looking good. I didn't know he wore glasses, though. That's the only thing I didn't understand. But so I've started posting now. Brian, that's awful. Brian and Brendan, the brothers. But Brian asked me. He was a veteran that ran all the VFWs. Wanted me to start posting more videos explaining the workouts it is. So I started doing that more. It's a good idea by him. Answer to my question, Pat Hickey. I did not find out, Ron. I apologize. I forgot about that. I think I tried to get hold of Gresh or whatever, but I didn't get the answer. So how did Pat Hickey get his nickname? His nickname was Hitch. Maybe Gresh still on, maybe he knows. So I do not know the answer to that. Man, he can talk more than any hockey player in the history of mankind. You ask him one question, and he's gone for a couple of days. More than Andre Dory. Andre Dory's a great man, but he can talk to the governor. You see, Body by PBR. Oh, Larry Miller. I can't stop doing that now. Every time there's something, I have to answer Larry Miller. He's not participating anymore. I think it's more fun when he comes back at me. So, okay. How hard was Trottier to check in pinning the boards as a defenseman? I admire him a lot. But I didn't really think he was that, like, he was a strong man, but it wasn't like a guy like a Bob Gainey. It was just like that, really strong. But I never viewed, I mean, he was, like I said, he was a competitive guy. Probably John Tonelli was harder to pin to the boards, not much as the strength part of it, more just the would never quit. You know, his elbows are flying all over the place and everything. But I mean, don't get me wrong with Trottier. He was strong, he was a great player. Just, I thought like Tonelli was harder to tie down. Let me see here. Excellent. Down 23 pounds, avoiding carbs. Ironically, my blood pressure is excellent. Yep. You can really control your body, your health, your mental health, your physical. Same thing. So physically, if you want to be healthy, obviously you exercise, put good things in your body, good foods. Same thing mentally. Exercise your mind. Be around good people, put good thoughts in it, get away from all the negativity, the news, and all that. And it's works both ways. So, let me see here. Al Coates said it was the damnedest thing he ever saw. As Nikki was saying, "Keep your hands up, or I'll kill you." McCutcheon said, "Nikki." Naked in the shower too. Oh man, that's the thing. Like some of the stuff that happened. Thank God there was no cell phone cameras back when. Like we've talked about this before. Same thing with Twitter, right? Imagine us all going out and having a few wobbly pops, and then coming back to the room and start tweeting things. You see, yeah. Let me see. You should see Mel in his baby blue shorts he bought at them. Oh, that's right. Wally's there with him and Sickamoose, right? Sickamoose. Oh, Mel, that's right. He's a funny man, I tell you. Let me see how Wally Thacker, the caber tosser. Ira Matthew, mentally, I'm too far gone. No. We don't say that. I know you're joking, but we do not ever say that. Doesn't matter if you're live. You can always get better, whatever it is, mentally, physically. Do you have some superfoods you recommend for a diabetic like myself? Well, yeah. I mean, for me, some of the big foods that I think really serve a lot of purposes, stuff like the sea moss that I use. Amino acids are overall healthy for you. Avocados, salmon, things like, again, when you're going to eat a lot of avocados or salmon, you're tracking your calories and your fat in your diet. I use an app called MyFitPal. It's going to look like you've got more fat in your intake of your food every day than you should, but that's healthy fats, right? There's different kinds of fats. There's trans fats are really bad for you. That's the hot dog we talk about. That's clogging your arteries. A lot of red meats, like processed meats, things like that are bad for you. But like the stuff like the salmon, vegetables, those kinds of things are, I mean, it's just overall healthy for you. Obviously, not all diabetics, but a lot of diabetics, it's a weight issue as well. So you get the weight off. I really do. A lot of studies that I see, I really believe that if you are diabetic, again, you still need to be on your medication to make sure you monitor your sugar levels and all that. But I think it's really possible to get rid of the diabetes or prevent it or both by the healthy foods and exercise. It's again, I've learned more and more with foods how much they can really affect your fit, like keeping you healthy. Fasting is really important. The health benefits from fasting, understanding that. How it isn't just about weight loss, although the weight loss is important when you're fasting, but it's regenerating the cells in your body. Some people believe that it can help because you're regenerating the cells or regenerate even cancer cells, whatever, it gets rid of those. So the overall healthy food, a lot of ground turkey, a lot of chicken. It's a really lean food with protein in it is pork tenderloin. Easy to make it. I get mine at Costco, throw it in the air fryer. It's done in, I made one last night. It's done 20 minutes. Keep it like nice little pink inside, so it's nice and juicy and everything. Let me see here. Mix a zero sugar yogurt. Yeah, apparently you gotta be careful. Sometimes you have to, when they get this zero sugar, you have to look at, okay, if it's sweet, what else are they? What artificial sweeteners are they putting in there that are not very good for you? That's a concern with the stuff like that yogurt. I was eating those yogurts and I can't remember who it was. Somebody said, "Tom, you got to check. So just be careful when you see stuff that says zero sugar and it's sweet. They're usually putting something else in it that is not very healthy for you. So let me see. You guys asking food advice from Mr. Poopy Pants. It's all part of the process, Ronnie. All part of the process. Keep yourself loose as a goose, right? Loose as a goose. Let me see. It's not a diet. Diet's and it's a lifestyle. Yes. Good point, Ira. You're exactly right. Like, I know the whole thing of going on a diet to lose 20 pounds a certain amount of time or whatever. Well, then what do you do once you lost the 20 pounds? It's a healthy lifestyle. Lose the weight naturally. It'll come off slower, maybe, but you'll be on that healthy lifestyle. And then once you get, like for me now, I don't fry any foods. If I ever stuck someplace and I have to have like a French fry or whatever that's actually fried, oh man, it just makes me sick because I just don't have fried foods going into my body anymore. Again, everything you can get, it's not the same, but your air fryer, if you want, whatever it is, it will give you that fried flavor. So, but the exercise too, getting up on a disciplined lifestyle, you don't have to get up at 3:30 like I do, but whatever is I know this may sound a little strange, but if you're trying to be disciplined with your diet and your exercise, it's hard to just be like turn on that switch to about being disciplined. It's more like try to have a disciplined lifestyle. You don't have to be rigid like you're in the military or something, but if you want to get up a certain, try to pick a time you get up. Like you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, try to make it 6 o'clock every morning that you get up. And that now you have a whole process you go through with your life. What do you do? Mine is making the bed perfect after that. So I just find it so much easier to maintain discipline in all parts of your life instead of just flipping that switch, the discipline switch on and off. So, let me see here. Intermittent fasting is awesome. You appreciate everything. Well, that's part of it. Yeah. And the key is, I've heard some people say, okay, we fast. Let's say I stop eating at 8 o'clock at night and don't eat until noon the next day. I've heard some people say, well, then you can eat whatever you want to do. No, the idea is you eat healthy food still. So now your body has burned out all the carbs and fat and everything out of your system. And now you go in a state of autophagy, you're burning off stored fat. So now that first thing you put into your body, now that's really going to affect, like, have healthy foods, like have a smoothie with the avocado in it and the collagen peptides and protein powders, sea moss, get that chicken bone broth. It's great. Like a lot of healthy sources of protein, low fat proteins. So I'll get for you. I do the fasting. I've been doing it for a year now. You inspire me. Oh, good job, Brian. Excellent. I'm glad I could help it. Again, and I appreciate the compliment, but it's really the person that is doing it has to be the one that really gets the credit, right? Because it is discipline, and sometimes it's not easy. And I always try to, like, I went through a period of time where I fasted every day. Now I do it about 5 times a week, but I'm trying to say, okay, I don't want to wake up in the morning and just randomly say, okay, I'm going to fast today. I want to have a plan. Like, it depends. If I've got an event I have to go to the night before and we're eating later than 8 o'clock, well, then maybe I won't fast the next day. I just make sure that I'm prepared for the next day. Say, okay, I'm going to be fasting tomorrow. If I'm home and I can control what I'm eating, much easier than I make sure I stop eating by 8 o'clock and then and try to eat right up till that 8 o'clock, because now you're not going to eat till noon the next day. For my case, I work out in the morning, so that you want to make sure there's some calories there. Again, that's burnt off. You stop eating at 8. That 12-hour window where now that all the calories and everything is burnt out of your body by 8 o'clock in the morning. Now you don't eating until noon, so you got 4 hours there where your body is basically cleaning itself out and healing itself. So, that's that's nasty stuff. Again, that's the key thing. Like really reading the labels, like what's in the foods that you're buying. That's right. It's really not that hard. If you've got a food processor and or blender, like to make your own ketchup, your own hummus, salt, it's really not that. I made it the other day. I showed it. I doubles actually as my pizza sauce as well. It's just all vegetables. The capers are a fruit technically, but there's no sugar or salts in it. And you still, by roasting it up in the air fryer, the tomatoes, peppers, and all that, get all that sweet taste to it. And then the saltiness comes from the capers. So let me see here. How is your love of dogs working? I do love dogs. I love dogs a lot. I don't love owners who think their dog barking all the time is cute. Again, very nice, obviously nice people. They love their dogs and everything, but just a little, especially when you lived in a confined area, like routine is key. Yes, absolutely right. Get in that routine, your routine. It doesn't have to be Tom's or Ira's or anybody else's routine. Everybody get in their own routine. If you're not I love getting up at 3:30. That's not for everybody, obviously. But if it's like 6 o'clock, you're getting up. make sure that 6 o'clock every day. You'll really love when you get into that routine of just not laying around in bed, getting up and getting things done. You'll feel so much better about yourself. Let me see here. Any thoughts on Mitch Marner rumors? I read Hedel, Kako, and Lindgren. Okay. Well, new GM in Toronto. So he didn't draft any, and that's what happens sometimes. The GM and the coaches, I mean, the scouts that draft these players have more of an attachment to them. So now a new GM comes in, and he doesn't have that attachment. He doesn't mean he's just going to throw these players away. There's a lot of people thinking I'm in the same camp. The Toronto really didn't do a good job of spreading out their cap dollars. They had Tavares, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews. Who's the other player there that was making big money too? Most teams have it so that like 2 or 3 of those high-end salaries are forwards. One's a defenseman, one's a goaltender. That's usually how they spread out the bigger contracts. You get too many forwards, for instance, and I think Toronto's in this case that have those big contracts, and then you don't have enough money to pay like a top-end defenseman or two. You know what? When things have gone on with those two teams, the Rangers and Toronto, where they haven't really gone farther in the playoffs that they want to, there's going to be a lot of rumors flying around, right? To clear up cap space. So I don't know. That's a tough one. Yeah, I still think Hedel. I love Lindgren too. If you have to give him up to get something like a real quality player up, you do it. But you got to have that kind of character that he's got on the team. That's what I would be afraid of, that you're losing that. You had Reeves come in there after the whole thing with what happened a couple years ago. Now you had to give it to him for cap reason, and now you lose Lindgren, who's like that guy. Just other teams are going to go, oh, God, I got to play against him tonight. He's not that big, but he just competes all the time. So let me see. Kachi does fasting. How fast can you? Jeez. Oh, I'm not laughing at that. I can't believe it went up on the screen accidentally. I have a seafood diet. Oh, Ron, come on. Let me see here. I have a seafood diet. Unfortunately, my tummy 18 years old. Yeah. I mean, that is one thing as you get older, like with your diet, your exercise. Yeah, you do have to adjust things, but don't fall into that trap where people saying, and I know you're not saying this, Ron, but people say, well, I'm getting older, so I can't do it anymore. That's just not true at all. And again, you see younger people that are trying to do really motivational videos. And I mentioned a story before. I saw this one guy, and what he's trying to say was, don't work all your life till you're 65 years old and then start living and having fun. Because then at 65, your body doesn't work anymore. But he was trying to send the message, enjoy your life the whole time. So he's trying to send a good message. But when he said that your body doesn't work anymore at 65, it's like, oh, I was just about to turn 65 too. I was like, I'm going to show you. So let me see. Yeah, let me see now. What sweetener do you recommend? So there's a monk fruit sweetener is supposed to be pretty healthy for you. But I would check on that. I had that. I hardly use it that often. I really don't. If I have a recipe that needs sugar in it, I'll use honey instead. But like I said, most of my stuff I cook now, I don't really, like I said, like when I make my own ketchup, it's when you roast it, it's essentially like roasting the tomatoes or roasting the peppers and the garlic and sauteing the onions and everything. It gives it that sweetness. So you really don't, for that kind of stuff, you really don't need an artificial sweetener in it. It's just that, again, if you're not using a sweetener very much and you want to use sugar every once in a while, it's like as long as you're not overdoing it, I really recommend getting an app and putting all your foods into the app, and then you can see what you're eating, all your carbs, your macros, your carbs, your protein, your fat. And then you see the nutrients. You can see what kinds of fats you're putting into your body, how much salt you're getting in. It gives you a visual of, okay, so I've eaten all day today and haven't had hardly any sugar, so I can afford to have some sugar now. A little bit, again, in moderation. But let me see. Yeah, you said this. I was surprised by the amount of pepperoni you put on the pizza. Isn't that? Yeah. But that's a perfect example. I hardly ever have any salt or add salt to my foods anymore, or have things that's salty. When I hardly ever have any processed meats like that. So as much as I'm saying that hot dogs are bad, that pepperoni is bad too. It's a processed food, a lot of trans fats in it, but I hardly ever have it. So, okay, I'm going to have it this one time. And then I may not have something like that for another month or 2 months. But it's a good point. So I said, okay, I'm making a pizza. I like pepperoni pizza, so I'm going to have it. It's like, I don't believe in like some people have like a cheat meal or a cheat day where they cheat their diet. That's for me wasn't like, I don't believe in that. I believe that what I'm doing for my body, the foods I put in and the exercise is making me better and healthy. Then why would I cheat that process? That doesn't make sense to me. But again, like the flip side of that is, yes, I also don't eat that kind of food very often. So the rare occasion that I do have pepperoni, then I do, knowing full well that isn't. And when you eat it, it's funny. You may look forward to eating it, but then after you have it, it's like you don't feel good, right? It's like something's gone into your stomach that you don't put in there usually. So remember that Tom Lindgren is a smaller version of Laidlaw. He's similar. Yeah, that's a compliment. Because I really admire him. He just plays it all hard. He's one of those guys that you don't look at him and say, "Man, he's a good player," and he is a good player, but he plays with his heart, right? So that's you kind of admire that. So I take that as a compliment. And again, I wish he was bigger, but he is what he is, and he still does the damage. I mean, it's the kind of guy that when you're looking at the lineup before you go play the Rangers, you go, "Oh God, I'm gonna have to play against Lindgren tonight," because he just never quit. I mean, his job every time is to hit you as much as possible, cross check you as much as you can now in the game in front of the net and everything. So, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I see. Are you doing the event Tuesday on Long Island for the Sheriff? I haven't been notified of that yet. I have. I've done out. Kind of 2 or 3 times I've gone out to that event, but a lot of times they know that I'm available to do stuff. So that's a fun event too. Yeah, is that the Suffolk County Sheriff? Is that the one that was involved in finding the murderer too? Is it the same guys? I think it is. Let me see here. Is Ron Greshner using the juicer? I don't think so. Still using the juicer. I think he gave up on the juicer. It wasn't his thing. It's not for everybody. I still use mine. I've learned I make a big batch of the ginger. So I get the ginger root and I'll make a big batch of ginger in the juicer probably once a week instead of trying to do it every day. The only bad thing with the juicer is having to clean it all the time. So that's why you learn, again, try to, whatever you're going to make, you don't want to leave it in the fridge too long, stuff like that. But like every week, it's a good idea. Live Good Worldwide. Who got here? Live Girl. If you want to learn what happens to the body in each of 6 different types of fasting, watch the YouTube channel, Dr. Very good. Thank you. Live Good Worldwide. I like that. There you go. Yes, that's one of the biggest things I've learned is to do my own homework. Like people will suggest things to me. Yes, I'm very stubborn. So like Mark Putnam's a good friend of mine, very knowledgeable with the body. So he'll mention things to me, but I just don't do it right away. I make sure I go research it myself. I don't know why. That is the case. Let me see here. Jack Smith had a Tom Smith sighting, a sighting of sweating from nowhere. So Tom Smith's our producer for the Full Change podcast that we do that we can watch. You're listening to on all podcast platforms. Please like, share, listen, like a comment. And met him at Fritz Delice. God, it must have been like 6 months ago, or whatever it was. Maybe a year ago. I don't know. So we started doing the podcast, and I've just gotten used to not having the air conditioner on, so it doesn't even affect me that much anymore. And so in the studio here, which is one of my bedrooms in my condo, we turned it into a studio. We have to keep the windows closed and everything because all the dog barking during the podcast. So, and then even having the fan on it, these new mics will pick everything up, so we don't have the fan on either. So it's a sweaty hour to do a podcast. Ira. I actually watched it. I'm bored. Doesn't mean what's going on. So I watched the version I was on. It's funny watching it. The things you don't realize, you think you really know everything that's going on in the game. Once you watch the game, you realize they're talking about you behind your back and everything. That's pretty funny. Yes, I was on Survivor, Ira. You know that. You should go on Survivor, Ira, now that you're a skinny man. Let me see here. By the way, nice non-black wardrobe. Thank you. So I have been trained by Tom Smith, the producer, to try to not have black T-shirt on because it looks like it's just my head because it just blends in with the background. So... Ron. Season 39, Ron. The most watched season ever. No, I don't think that was the case. I don't think that was the case at all. Let me see here. What other world news is going on? It's been, I was reading an article in USA Today talking about global warming. Called it Baked Alaska. I didn't read the whole article. I'll watch it later. But let me see here. How did you know when to talk to the camera on Survivor? They don't really want you to talk to the camera. I mean, if they'll pull you aside and do interviews with you, so obviously you're talking to the camera there. But in fact, when you're in the gameplay, where you're just doing whatever during the day, talking to people, they don't want you looking at the camera. They want you looking at the person you're talking to or whatever. So, so there's a few times, they they yell at you a little bit too sometimes. Like, don't look in the camera, because they, like, one time I was doing something stupid. It was kind of funny. I can't remember what I was doing. And I started looking at the camera. The guy goes, "You screwed it up. You looked in the camera," because they wanted to use it. And so, yeah, you do that. But it's hard, right? Because especially during the day. At night, there's one camera at your camp, in case somebody gets up and goes looks for an idol or whatever they're doing. But during the day, there's several cameras. And then at Tribal Council, there's cameras all over. At Tribal Challenges, there's 100 cameras. That's one thing that's a surprise with how many people are at the challenges, because it looks like you're just out there on the island by yourself, basically. But there's 100 people. There's all kinds of cameras and reporters and everything. So I'm surprised by that. Let me see. Yeah. If you were in prison, what would your last meal be? Why would you say it that way? You just say, "What would my last meal be?" It's funny. If I was in prison, what would my last meal be? But I'd want to cook it, though, too. I'd want to have, like, the turkey dinner. I want to have the whole smell and everything, too. The turkey dinner, the stuffing, mashed potatoes, homemade gravy. Oh, apple pie. Woo, man. Now that's one. Well, we're pretty good with the diet. The stuffing and everything. Yeah, that dinner. The gravy is pretty good, so I don't add any fats or anything to it. Well, it's the dripping from the turkey dripping down. It's all vegetables in the bottom, so there is some fat. I mean, that's one. Christmas and Thanksgiving, those are one of those times where it's not a cheat day. It's more like, okay, this is living life here, right? So, Jack Smith, yes. Thanks, Jack, very much. Kerry Fraser was excellent. Another example of a guy I didn't like. He was great. Wow, tell stories. He could have done 3. Yes, and we'll have back on again. You're totally correct. He's fantastic. Great storyteller. Great personality. I knew because again, knowing him a little bit when you're on the ice, you can get to know but you don't get to know him that much. It's just like the short interactions you're having with him. But he was really good. A guy you're going to like too is Ken Hitchcock. Really surprised by that. Because I obviously I've been very critical of him publicly, him, Babcock, and Keenan. Some of the things the way they treated players and everything. And it was good because I said to him right away, so listen, Hitch, I got to be honest. I mean, we know each other a little bit, but I really don't know you that well. And I've been critical of you. And I put him in that category with Babcock and Keenan. And he was great. He was, I think he's heard it so many times. Like he used to get arguments with players all the time on the bench. So there's no surprise to it. And he was good. He said, listen, I'm an agitator, I think he said. And so he talked about what he would do if he was on the bench and the team wasn't playing well. I should be careful because I want you to listen to the podcast so you can hear it from him first. But he talked about how he planned these things and that he did have regrets, that he wished he'd appreciated or told the players that he appreciated them more. He's so wrapped up in winning. So it was a very intelligent man, very having a reason why he was doing things, and he even, and again, being critical of Babcock, we even got into him a little bit. Now, he's good friends with him, so take it with a grain of salt. But they coached together in the Olympics before. And he thinks very highly of him and claims that he's changed a lot, too. So now Babcock's been coaching in Columbus. And knowing John Davidson, the president there, too, I don't think, like the old Mike Babcock, all the things we heard about him and the stuff he was doing, like Mitch Marner and Franzen in Detroit and all that, I don't think JD would have hired that version of Mike Babcock. I think that's something they would have done their homework, sat down and talked to him a lot. And really, because he's a smart hockey man. There's a lot of smart hockey men. It's just some of the stuff he was doing before just wasn't necessary. So hopefully he's learned a lot from that, especially with today's players. Like back in the past, guys were like, we hated Ted Sater. Well, so what? We were having fun playing hockey. That's all we cared about. I do remember Dallas Drake was a client of mine. He was playing in St. Louis at the end of his career. He got bought out of his contract. And he said to me, it's different words, but he said to me, get me to Detroit and don't screw it up. Again, some different words there. But and I said, what about Babcock? I hear all this bad stuff about him. He says, no, listen, I want to win. He gets the most out of the players. So the player, and Dallas was a special player too. Like mentally, that just didn't bother him. He wasn't going to let that affect him, especially as an older player near the end of his career. He wanted to win a Stanley Cup, and he did. So again, different players. Some guys, again, the players today are different. People are different now today. And Babcock, Hitchcock talked about that too, saying that the players of today, we just want to be told what to do, and then we didn't ask for an explanation about it. They were going to give us an explanation, so that wasn't the way it worked. But players today, they want an explanation, like, okay, what are we doing and why are we doing it? And you either can fight that as a coach, or you accept that's the way it is and get the most out of the players, and you tell them why you're doing it. So Hitchcock, again, that is a great show to watch or to listen to. He was very informative too when that comes out. So, but Kerry Fraser, yeah, he was excellent. Sorry, we had that up there already. Let me see here. Mimsy, if it's your last meal, why not just go all out? Yeah, well, good point. Yeah, don't really worry about the diet too much if that's your last meal. That's funny. Good point there. Mimsy, you magical creature. You see, yeah. Oh, Tom, you know why? Tom, you know why would be great? Dennis Hall. Really funny. Yeah. Yes. I heard his health wasn't very good. Maybe I'm incorrect in that. I thought somebody told me that health was. Yes. So when I got done playing, yeah, he's a fantastic public speaker. Apparently, I haven't heard him, but people talk about it. So when I got done playing my first year, I just started my agent business. Was just trying to get that going, and I'd done the radio work with the Kings. They had hired Dennis Hall up in San Jose to do the color. The problem with Dennis is like he was a storyteller. And when you do the color commentary, you got a short period of time. You have to tell why this play happened, right? What happened here and why. That wasn't his thing. It wasn't that he wasn't great at being a speaker. So I think they both came to the conclusion, listen, we got to get somebody else in here. And I came in and did probably the last 3/4 of the season with San Jose. And it was a blast. It was good. It was very lucky that had taken off. That I was doing well with that, and the agent business taken off. So I had to make a decision. Part of it was they weren't gonna. They didn't pay a whole lot back then, and I would have had to move up to San Jose, which is pretty expensive to live up there. And plus, I had a small family, young family, and being my own boss as an agent, you could kind of make your own schedule. You can't. You make your own schedule. So, let me see. Some of these teams signing unknowns as GMs. Where did these guys come from? Well, they're probably unknowns to us. That are not in the game actively now. They're not unknowns to people in the business. They may be working in the minors. Like Chris Drury, for example, when he got the job, I mean, obviously people knew Chris Drury because he's an NHL player, but they didn't know his ability. Most people in the public didn't know his abilities as a general manager, but the people inside the game, he was a hot commodity. And he had some leverage there that when they fired JD and Jeff Gorton, he basically said, well, I want both positions and I want them now. He didn't want an interim tag or anything. This is the way I hear it. So that's an example of everybody else knowing how good he was, but to the public, they would have known. So they're not unknowns necessarily. But still, the problem was if you're an unknown, you come in and things don't go well. It's like, no, this guy isn't any good, right? They can't do the job. It's a guy that's had a track record, but he has a bumpy start to his career in a certain place. It's easier to say, well, he knows what he's doing. He's done it before. Let me see here. Is Mr. Patrick come back to show? No Jeep. James Patrick? Yeah, I haven't talked to him. Actually, I left a message for him when the whole thing went down. They're selling their team. And then he, I guess, wasn't brought back. And I don't want to bother a guy because I don't know what's going on. He's searching for another job, run around. I'll call him again. He did a fantastic job on Full Change too. He's a great speaker, intelligent guy, really thoughtful. I like James. A lot of respect for him. With all the power of social media, there are just no secrets as to how a coach believes. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. So, like I was a big fan of Gerard Gallant, actually. Gallant, I guess is the proper pronunciation. And yeah, it was very known. Okay, here's how he coaches. Like this is like, okay, I like to let the players go. They've got to have some defensive system. I've got a great goaltender, like in New York's case. I got a great goaltender here. Go. And if you make mistakes, don't worry about it. You're going to get back out there. But I want you going hard all the time. That's the way he coached. He lifted a lot of it to the players. Not everybody likes that. But when the thing is now you're going to get him, everybody knows. So I think this is the good. Everybody knows this is what you're getting with this coach. So there's no surprise. Don't come back later on and say, well, he should be doing this. Well, that's not how he coaches. And that's how, coaches typically what they're not going to coach to the team that they have. This is the way we coach. Now, do they have to make some adjustments based on the talent level that they have? Yes. And when you listen to Hitchcock talk on our interview, he talked about how some of the most rewarding or proudest moments were getting the most out of a team that wasn't as good. So yeah, I think it's a good thing that coaches that everybody knows how they coach. This is it. This is what you're getting. Fans, general manager. Obviously, general manager better know. All right, Wally Thacker. Any good? Wally Thacker. The Cabotas. Is that Scottish accent? He's next on the Cabotas. Wally Thacker. Is that Scottish? Yeah. Well, that's my Scottish. Any good Melnick coach stories? Oh, man. Yeah, tons of good stories. My favorite one, I wasn't there for it, was when he was in Vancouver. And it was Bob McCammon. said, trying to make fun of like it was a bad game, and he said something like, "Yeah, you're supposed to be tough, Mel. Like you don't know how to fight," or something like that. And Mel threw his skate at him. He was walking. McCann was walking out of the room. Mel threw the skate back of his head. Now he missed it, and the skate stuck in the wall or something like that. And the funny thing was that the Jack McElhargy was a tough guy. We've lost Jack too, I believe he's not with us anymore. But he came to Mel at some point after that and said, I think they made him captain next year, or assistant captain. And they said, "That's why we want you, because you threw the skate at his head." That's that mentality back then. He wasn't going to take the crap from anybody else. So threw the skate at his head. So there's lots of stories about Mel. He's one of those team guys where, and Mel will tell you this too. He just didn't take crap from anybody on or off the ice. And we got him in trouble sometimes with coaches because he would say what he felt. And that's how he goes. The Mel man. My late cousin Richie told me Emil France was a great people coach and not old school jerk like many of the older coaches. Maybe too soft players, too low. Yeah, well, that's it, right? There's so many different styles. I don't know. Like, especially back then, the mentality was more. Again, even when I like a 16 league, obviously not many people got to play in the NHL because there's only 16. And it was 21 when I played. So if you got a job in the National Hockey League, you're typically not sitting around, worrying about whether the coach likes me or not, or talks to me or not. In fact, we had a meeting when we had a tough stretch there when we had at our practice rink in Rye Playland. The guys were saying, "Well, the coaches are never in the locker room, even in that locker room more." So they rearranged the locker room so the coaches have to walk through the locker room to get to their offices. Played bad. A few months later, we said, "Well, the coaches in the locker room too much," so they changed the locker room around so they didn't have to go through the locker room to get to it didn't matter. We just weren't playing well. It had nothing to do with the coaches talking to us or not. So, see, I'm making mistakes. We all make mistakes, Jack. That's the way we live. We go all out and knowing that we're going to make mistakes. So, no apologizing necessary. Although I'll pick on you. Bad spelling doesn't mean you have to apologize. It just means I'm going to pick on you. Let me see here. Prayers for those players that passed in the following weeks. But someone was a fan. Prayers for those players that passed in the following weeks. I'm not sure which ones. Is that one summer where we lost 3 guys? You're talking about Ron? You see here, Jilly Bell. Those stories are in this podcast for you. I highly recommend it. Thanks, Joe, very much. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm really happy with actually, Tom and I were talking about it yesterday. Really happy with the way the podcast has come out. Obviously, I felt it's going to be interesting, but some of the life stories of the players that they really open up, like the Richie Pilons and Malarchuk, guys like that, the stuff they've been through, and now they've healed, and now they're helping other people. Like the hockey stories were very interesting. That's one thing. But the life stories, like growing up, some of the ways that guys grew up, didn't have a whole lot. And then after the game, it wasn't always easy for players, financially, drugs, alcohol, mental health issues. So to see guys going through all that and really heal themselves. So let me see here what we got. Let's see. Ira, is it true that Bubba and Dave Malloy didn't like each other? No. They were different people, but I don't think that they didn't like each other. There's you got to remember when there's like 20, extra players and coaches, and there's like 25, 30 people hanging around every day for, from September to whatever you're done in the playoffs. You could still like each other, but you have different personalities, different lifestyles. Like Ron Duguay, we've talked about many times. Fantastic teammate. But he had his thing that was very public. It was Page 6, Studio 54. That doesn't mean he wasn't a great teammate. It's just that his stuff was very public. We all had different stuff that we did, different beliefs, dress differently, drive different cars. So 2 guys maybe just don't think the same way about life, but doesn't mean that they didn't get along. There's very few guys that you had in the locker room, that, especially in hockey, that you didn't get along with. So let me see here. Thoughts on appearing on another reality show, Big Brother, tough as nails. There's a new Bachelor show out now for seniors. What's it called? Golden Age or Golden Years or something like that. And it's everybody that's 65 and above. I got approached by, I knew this woman. She worked at a marketing company. They approached me about 3 years ago when the idea first came out about putting in an application. So they put in an application for me. Then I thought about it after. I said, "Oh, isn't the idea that you're supposed to get married off these shows?" And I said, "I've done that twice. I'm not." So they haven't called me back anyway. So I'd love to do another show. Yeah. I'd love to do Survivor again. That was a blast. I really like that. A lot of fun. The only problem with Amazing Race, I've seen some of those, and I have an issue with heights. And some of those things, like there's one where they're crawling across they're tethered, so they're not going to fall, but they're like this big gondola that's hundreds of feet in the air, and hanging off that thing. So let me see. Let me see. Any life lessons learned from your survivor? Oh, good question, Lisa. Thank you. How are you doing? Any life lessons? Yeah, you know what? It's kind of a confirmation for me that like when we went out to LA for casting, I told myself, listen, I can't, with my true grit life that I've got going, I can't be one of these people that's lying and cheating and all this kind of stuff. I'll work hard. I'll try to dominate in challenges. And but I will build an alliance. This is the way I'm going to play the game. Ultimately, that was one of the reasons I got voted off. They said that I was so loyal to the people I'd made an alliance with. They're now over on the tribe. So they voted me off for that. But I remember thinking to myself, it was almost like, not almost, it was like, okay, only one person wins out of the 20 anyways. I wanted to win. There's no question. But I was happy that I didn't fall into any traps and then change who I really was. I stayed loyal to what I said I was going to do and played that way. Knowing full well during the game, there's times where I could have tried to lie, but then everything I'd done to build that reputation to being somebody that could trust me, they then wouldn't trust me anymore if I now flipped over and said, well, okay, I won't be loyal to those people I said I was going to be loyal to. Because then it's like, well, how can you be loyal? How can we trust you if you're not going to be loyal to those people? So, so that's what I learned. Just to stick with who you are, be who you are, no matter what. Like it's the old saying, what's that? The same boiling water that makes a egg hard makes potato soft. So different people, I love that saying where it's like, don't let your environment dictate who you are. You decide who you are. Years ago, Ratzer wrote a book on this. Yep. On Thin Ice, Nick Clinton, Nikki blamed Dave Laney for his going Harvard. I don't recall that, so I really can't speak to it. I really don't think it was Dave. I think people have perceptions sometimes that players have this power to get other players moved. Maybe Wayne Gretzky or Mark Messier, or those guys. And no disrespect to Dave when I said this, but I don't think. First of all, I can't see Dave doing that, and I don't know that he would have the power to do that at the time. So, but again, I don't know the details. So, yeah, I'd love to do Gladiators. Woo! I'd love to do stuff like that. That'd be cool. God, I don't know about doing a Golden Years or whatever. Are your Gresh really neighbors? Do you guys hang out in the driveway, cracking beers, comparing crabgrass? We are neighbors. We live probably about 100 feet from each other, and we never see each other. We live different lifestyles. I'm up at 3:30 in the morning, going to the gym at 4:30, outside a lot. It's just I don't go to casinos. Gresh likes going to casinos. I think partly it's a privacy thing too, right? We're not living in a dorm. You don't want this thought that okay, like I'm going to walk over there every day. He's sitting on the crapper. Let me see. Yeah. Tom versus whoever cooking channel guy. Oh, I would see. That's another one too. I'd love to get a cooking show going. I get on one of those cooking shows. Yeah, so it'd be cool. We talked about that. I think I actually need to do more to push that. There's a lot of stuff going on there for a while. Actually, right now it's a pretty quiet time. That's what I'll do. Okay, so I'll contact. Who should we get? Guy Fieri cooking channel. Yeah, so I'll contact them. I gotta know somebody. Where do they film those shows? Is it filmed in New York or maybe it's out in LA, right? Oh, Susan. I learned empathy. Well, I learned what empathy was or is. I don't know if I really learned to be empathetic. I think I'm empathetic. It's just, I think of a lot of men too. It's a male thing where if somebody comes to you with a problem, you want to fix the problem. It doesn't, obviously, if you're helping them fix it, you must care about the person and care about what they're going through. But it's just it isn't in our nature just to sit there and say, oh, I'm sorry you're going through that. It's not okay. Let's fix it. Let's go kick the door in and get those people to stop working after 6:00 at night. Life lessons and Survivor. Hide toilet paper in the woods. Yeah. No, I'll tell you, there's no hiding anything. They frisk you before you go out there. Like you're at this camp where like the staging camp, it's called Ponderosa. We were there for 5 days before. Then when you finally get to go out on the island, they go through all you can't bring bags out there, but they frisk you. They make sure, because people have tried to smuggle things in before. So there's no way of getting stuff in there. Hello. Let me see here. Where's Jilly? I want to see what Jill writes again. What's going on with the book? Oh, I know. So it's a frustrating process. So that book's been going on for like what, God, 3 years now, probably been going on with the book. The First Gentleman, I had a fantastic guy, David Segerman. At the start of the pandemic, we gotten going on the book pretty good. There's all the uncertainty. His wife looked like was going to lose her job, so he had to take on more work. So it was more of a time issue about getting it done. Now what's happened is, like, I've changed so much. All the new things I've learned, like the mental health, diet. Tom Smith is going to help me finishing the book up. We've got to go back and kind of revisit that because I just don't think it's the same version of I'm not the same version of who I was back then. So we're going to read it again and get back at it. So I want to get that done sooner. I want to get it done tomorrow. It's not going to. It's a matter of really finding the time. We're busy with this podcast and it too. So it will get done. And that's the one thing I've learned with the book, and I hear other people say it too. It's easy to start writing a book. It's hard to end it because you want, especially if you're still doing things and learning new things. You want to put new stuff into the book all the time. So I'll get Costco to sponsor you. Yeah, I do enough for Costco, right? And I know I go in there now, and it's funny. Like I feel like I'm the mayor at Costco, saying hello to everybody. So it's a blast. Norris, my buddy at Costco, Chicken Man. He's funny. What a great man he is. Always in a good mood. So everybody's saying hello to him all the time. And Norris, the Chicken Man. If you go to the Port Chester Costco, go ask for Norris at the deli section there. He's either making chickens or he's in the back putting together the salads and all that kind of stuff. So Norris, the Chicken Man. 3:30 in the morning. Did you read the book Miracle Morning? I can't get up till 8 a.m. Although I'm going to bed. Okay, so that's the one thing that's got to change there, Rob, sorry, I apologize. When you say can't, there's nothing you can't do. You can get up. Like people say that I'm a night owl. Well, you know, nobody's a night owl. It's just you're staying up late. You just change who you want to be. So 3:30. I didn't see that. What was the movie? See the Miracle Morning? Did you read the book Miracle Morning? No, I did not. So that whole morning process, I was always an early riser anyways, not 3:30. But when my son Cody came to me and said, Dad, you can to market and brand yourself. Jocko Willink was just getting started in his journey. And he was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, I can't get up at the same time as Jocko. I got to get up earlier, right? So it was 3:30. And then you learn a lot. You learn a lot in the way about, making the bed perfect. That Admiral William McRaven, the Navy SEAL admiral, did that famous speech about the importance of making beds perfect every morning, and how it kind of leads the rest of your life is like that. So you're doing something for yourself. You don't have to do it. You're doing it the right way. You're doing it properly. And then that for me now it evolved into like doing things with purpose, passion, and intent. So if I'm doing things, listen, it's not your whole life, but most of my life now, if I do something, if I eat something, if I exercise, there's a purpose to why I'm doing it. I want to get the best out of myself. So I put the good foods in my body. I exercise properly. I probably don't get enough sleep. That's one thing I need to work on. And I know it's very valuable for you. So it's, it's to me that whole morning routine is a big part of the discipline about life. So Boomer was discussing the Gilgamesh and said he drives through his neighborhood and the house in the shades, always down. That's right. Yeah, you can't see Gretchen's place. That's right. Man, what's going on over there? Maybe I'll go get my cell phone camera, go over there, take some videos. Yeah. Where is? No kidding. Where's Tracy? No kidding. Man, that's embarrassing. Like she doesn't even. But she's part of the team here, man. And where's Barry Shelley? I think Barry may be out of town still. He was up for a New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which I'm pretty sure he was getting inducted. So he may not be back yet. But yeah, Tracy and Barry both on the same day, not here. Goodness. Oh. Mr. Thursday podcast with Larry Gresh, you and the Ranger teammates is still available somewhere. It's still on. So we haven't done any more shows, but those shows stay on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook profile as well. So you can go back and look at those there. Yeah, that was a blast. It was one of those things that, so when we first started, it was Ron Duguay, Ron Grescher, myself, Dave Maloney. We didn't know what we were doing. It was the pandemic was just getting going. We were bored. We just got on and we started acting like goofballs, and it turned out to be a funny show. And then Dukes fade away and the guys get busy with stuff. Dave, and I totally respect Dave Maloney in this. Like he's very aware of who he is and how he's perceived, like his brand. He's that intelligent gentleman that's worked in the business world before, now doing TV. And we were getting pretty goofy, right? And again, he's never said this to me. This is part what I'm thinking about. I think it just wasn't his he felt like, oh, geez, that's kind of, he was having fun doing it, but it really wasn't his kind of, I was trying to get him to get the maid on the show and it, was in the background. So yeah, we were pushing it. And then James, we talked about this before, he got in trouble, and I don't think he should have because it was no secret. They named a couple of players in Winnipeg that were supposedly bad in the locker room, and he got in trouble for that. So he had to drop out of the show. So it just kind of fizzled out, and then everybody gets busy doing things. But that was a lot of fun. We could start up another one like that again. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was. Man, some of those early shows. A lot of them. Like when Mel got on, he was hilarious. Like when he was doing his homework and everything. So I just looked up the Food Network. It looks like their offices are Chelsea Market. Okay, nice. Okay. So good. Let's get on that. Let's make a point of that. If anybody's got any connections at the Food Network, please let me know. That'd be a blast, wouldn't it? Getting on there and doing a show. Woo. Let me see here. I see Larry is watching. Yeah. So yeah, here's what he does now too. So like we used to have this fun thing where, and I'm still doing it, where every time somebody's got some statement or whatever on Facebook, I put Larry's name in there, and he would come back with comments. Now he's not doing it anymore. I don't know if I hurt his feelings, sulking. We are getting on trying to. There's still some loose ends that need to be tied up with the golf tournament. So I don't think that but not everybody. So some people have not been invited yet. They're still going to get invited. So just waiting to see where that lines up. There may be a special event if they can get some people here that they're trying to get. So the legendary late great bodybuilder Bill Pearl used to get up at 4:30 and get in his work. Yes. Just I didn't know this when I started doing it. Apparently, I don't know if like some people are into this maybe more than I am, but the power of the universe, I guess at that time, like from 3 to 4 o'clock, is the greatest. It is once you get used to it, getting up at 3:30, it's just that like you're fired up again. Like I think it's part of that routine that you're saying, okay, I don't have to do this, but I'm doing it. And now you do it with a vengeance. I was so fired up with the gym today. These young guys who started coming in the gym today, 2 of them were there today. And I was fired up and they were getting going too. So it was, it's just, again, the big thing is you're not always going to have motivation. It's going to come and go. And on most days, like, going to the gym, most people that are avid fitness people, they're not always motivated. But what they do have is that discipline. And that's why, like, same thing with your diet, your mental health, your relationship with your kids, your spouse, your career. If you have that discipline, then those days where you're not motivated to do something, maybe you're just not in the mood one day with your wife, but you know what, you're dedicated and you're disciplined about your marriage. You got married and you said, I'm going to make sure I'm going to have the best marriage possible. And there's going to be some days where you're just in a bad mood or whatever, but you say, no, I made a commitment to myself, to my wife, my husband, whatever it is. And the same thing with your careers, your kids. You don't always feel like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, taking your son or daughter to a hockey practice or whatever it is. But they're your kids. You've made a decision to have kids. You want your kids to have a great life, and that includes you doing some things that you don't want to do all the time. So, but that's why that discipline is so important. Let me see. Yeah, donate $1 to sponsor Tom to do a cookie show. There you go. Okay. So, but again, everybody's got some connections there with the Food Channel. Let's go. Let's get that done. We've talked about that for a while. Let's get it done. I agree with Pete. Those player shows are great. Jeep Gress, yeah. They're everybody, right? They have the combination of the 4 personalities together. It was surprising too. Like James Patrick, man, he's got that like really. He would put the glasses on and then he'd do some homework from the show before, like write down comments. I just the whole thing of the way he again grabbed the glasses, like, okay, now we're going to go. James is going with the comments from last year, and then Larry Mel, like, he kind of faded away with this, but he was doing homework and had stuff prepared and everything. So now that was a blast to do. We could get it going again. That was fun. Yeah, well, as we discussed, just we have different beliefs on things, and we'll leave it there. Francis Garcia, can we do a cooking show making pizza with the former New York Rangers? Francis Garcia, I assume that's somebody that you have friends with here on. What was that name? The other person's name we never saw before. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're gonna get this cooking show. Okay, speaking of the Food Network, Emerald used to be awesome. Bam, and now he's hawking. Yeah, I know he doesn't look good either. Wow, and now he's selling pots and pans. I know. Well, I've told when I first got divorced, my boys were like 4 and 6 years old, and I didn't know how to cook at all. And my boys and I would sit down and watch Emerald all the time and other cooking shows to learn how to cook. But it was entertaining too. We all 3 of us learned how to cook. My sons are good cooks as well now. So, all right. So Just so a little update here. We're at a little ongoing situation with the workers. Again, the construction workers in this condominium complex have to be done working by 6 o'clock. I've taken it upon myself to be the guardian of Greenwich Place, make sure that is happened. Last night, it got a little heated. I was very nice a couple nights ago when they were going past 6 o'clock. I said, I'm sorry. I know you want to work, get the job done, but we can't. They stopped right away, and they did it again last night. So we had to up the temperature a little bit. There's a couple F-bombs going around, but all's good. All's good. It's actually kind of fun, I love that stuff. Lisa Lee Martello, how are you again? Or Master Chef with Gordon Ramsay competition show for? Yeah, okay. I like it. Yeah, okay. So we're going to, if anybody has a connection with a food channel, Food Network, is that the same food channel, Food Network, the same thing? Here's the dog. Who let the dogs out? There you go. Yeah. Oh, little doggies. Would you ever get married again? No, I am not getting married to you. No, well, you never say never. This perfect person comes around. But you should get, once you've been single for so long, you're so set in your ways. So set in your ways. Remember on New Year's Eve when James had a few beers and really opened up? It was great. Little James Patrick Buzz. I loved it. Yeah. I always watched the old show. I came up on YouTube. The one where was it New Year's Eve? And Larry Melnick had a cocktail, and he had a Caesar, and he had a piece of celery stick, but the celery stick was all limp. And it was funny because the guest came up and was like, give us some Viagra. And I said, it's had celery dysfunction. That was funny. But there's sometimes around those shows where, you watch people on TV do that way. They start laughing. You just can't stop laughing. And Mel, for me, Mel, well, everybody did, but Mel, one of Gresh's great lines too. He says, you guys know what hallway sex is. And as soon as your wife and you pass each other in the hallway, you go, F you. I thought that was pretty funny. His delivery is good too. So, let me see. Yeah, that's right. James Patrick, Bob Brooklyn. Fran had a show Pizza Master on Food Network. He's a good friend. Yes, that'd be great, Bob, if you would hook us up. That's fantastic. You can come on as a guest with me too, all right? Seriously, let's really get that going. I want to do that. We've talked about that for a long time. That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be cool. Let's get Tom on TV. Yes, let's go. That'd be fun. It'd be fun if we could do some kind of show like this where people like you guys are writing in questions and while I'm cooking, that kind of stuff. That'd be a blast. Marry a nurse who works nights. Best relationship. Oh God. Seriously. I saw this funny video. It was on Reels on Instagram today. The guy was getting interviewed. I'm assuming he's a comedian. It's very funny. And they asked him about getting married again. And he went on and on about, he says, no. He said, or you even having a relationship. Like he used kayaking as an example. Like the girl would say, like, let's kayaking. You go, what? I haven't gone off the coach in 3 months or 3 years. So it was very funny. I thought it was good. I'm probably not doing it justice, but let me see. Yeah. James Dolan talks to no one. It'd be on with you and also Slats. That'd be a great show. Two guys who don't talk with Laidlaw. Actually, that's not true with those guys. There's a business thing going on years ago, 5-6 years ago. And Gresh was living, longer. Gresh was living down in Florida at the time, and he was going to be part of the meeting as well. And Gresh, he gets, because of snow or something, like some reason he couldn't make it up there. So I had a meeting with Glenn Sather, Mr. Dolan, and somebody else. I can't remember. It was pretty high up at the Garden. It was more of a business thing. And Mr. Dolan was fantastic. We got right into talking business, and he said, I don't think that's going to work in about 5 minutes. And we sat there and talked for a couple hours. Well, Glenn Sather's got a fantastic personality. People that know, he does so many good things for a lot of people, other players. He's obviously done well in life. He's helped people financially, helped them with, but Barry Beck was in town and really had a hard time. Glenn Sather is spearheaded helping Barry out. And Barry had been very critical of specifically the NHL in whole, specifically the New York Rangers. And didn't phase Glenn at all. He knew that Barry was going through a hard time. And he stepped in. We saw him at the golf tournament. Barry was not doing well. And there's others, Glenn Healy got involved, Jackie DiPiazza was involved in all of that. I think, there's a bunch of us, the Gresh and I talked to him on the phone. Other people like Adam Graves was there with him as well. So there's a lot of people that help. But again, both those people, Mr. Dolan and Glenn Sather, are people they don't know them, right? They put on this act publicly. They just don't want to say anything. Sometimes people do too much talking. Like you watch Bill Belichick in New England, right? He doesn't say anything because it's always going to be taken the wrong way. He just doesn't say anything. And that's the same. Those guys are the same way too. So they were fantastic. We had a long talk. We were joking around. I was making fun of Glenn Sather, flying around in his helicopter and all this kind of stuff, and he was laughing. That was a blast. Let me see here. Just as long as Hershey Squirt's gonna. Oh man, that was a cleanse. I actually feel fantastic now after going through that. That was nasty going through it, but Ira, the update is I can't disclose what the potential secret is, but if they're trying to get somebody to come to the golf tournament and have a tribute to this person, played a big role with the Rangers for many years. So they don't know for sure yet whether they can get this person or not. And then based on whether they can get him or not, it kind of like people that were there with the organization when this person was there, there'd be more of those people invited to the golf tournament. If they don't have this person, it'd be a different lineup. So that's where it is with not just Larry, but with a lot of people, whether they're going to be there or not. So that is the update. Even Larry had mentioned publicly that I was on top of the situation. Bob, nice to see you there. Please, let's get on that Food Network thing too. All right. Good job. Thank you. All right, everybody. Any more questions? I've got no hurry. I got none. Today's a quiet day today. So no hurry at all. I don't have to go anywhere, but if we were all wrapped up, yeah, seriously, no Barry Shelley and no Tracy. Oh my God. And thank God for pointing that out. Maybe I wish you didn't point that out because now I'm just devastated with this. I do have to go. A big day today. I got to go to Home Depot, get some light bulbs too. That's a big day. So anyway, you got to make sure you take a picture of the existing light bulbs so you get the right light bulbs, right? You go there and you get a whole assortment of light bulbs in your place. You never use them. Just buy the wrong one. So, all right, everybody. Let me see here. This question about Glenn said, like for used to anytime like that. Yeah. So to my knowledge, he still does. The last time I saw Glenn, he's always, even if he hasn't got it lit, he's one of those guys who's got one in his mouth. Yeah, like I said, he is totally. He puts on the act, and he could be a tough guy, but like even when I was in the agent business and negotiating with him, you could tell he was just he do things, he say stuff, just to make it think like I'm kind of playing with you a little bit. So, let us know about the chef. Okay, yep. I should. I usually know it may be late, maybe Monday before they tell me or whatever. Get the right ends. Let me see. Get the right ends. Yes, that's right. Yes, right size. Sometimes it's like those flat light bulbs, and the certain length of the light bulb doesn't come out of the ceiling the right way or something. Yeah. Yes, let's get on TV. That'd be a blast. Do a cooking show on TV. Have some fun. Man, that'd be huge. All right, everybody. Great show. Good job today, everybody. Stay cool if you're in a hot place. We haven't touched on this as much anymore, and that's my fault. But let's make sure we're our mental health. We got that 988 hotline. Let's make sure we're all helping each other, make the world a better place. You go someplace, you see somebody. Let's make sure we're helping everybody out. Ask them, "Are you okay?" It can make a big difference in some random person's life if you just walk up to them, they look like they're distraught or something. Just hey, listen, you okay? You're an important person in this world. Let's make sure we take care of each other. Okay. Have a great weekend. We'll see everybody next week.